The difference between you sounding average and being eloquent comes down to a few simple habits, and today I want us to interrogate the gaps between our thoughts and our tongue to figure out why clarity keeps slipping through the cracks. Because this isn't a momentary glitch in our speech, it's a pattern. It's a silent decay of meaning that happens every time we open up our mouths without knowing how to carry the weight of our own thoughts. We think we're being clear because the idea made sense in our head, but that's where the trap is. What feels sharp internally often bleeds out its meaning when spoken aloud. And if we don't fix this, we'll keep living in a world where the most important things that we have to say die on its way out, and what's left is a watered down expression of our thoughts. There are things that I've said in passing, half awake, unscripted, that people still quote back to me 10 years later. And then there are the speeches, the carefully crafted phrases that I spent hours decorating that vanished the moments that I said them. I realized something that many people have missed, and this revelation is the first sin that we must confront if we want to communicate effectively. We think we're good communicators, but the honest truth is, we're not. And because we don't believe we're bad at it, we don't put in the work that is required to get better. Let me show you exactly what I mean. AI has access to all the information in our galaxy. Every book, every quote, every journal, every lecture. This is a literal universe of knowledge right at our fingertips. And yet, you've probably asked it to do something simple and it gets it completely wrong. It's not because AI is dumb, it's because your prompt wasn't clear. Frankly speaking, it sucked. If you, a fully conscious, intelligent human being, can't get your thoughts across to a machine designed to understand language with surgical precision, then maybe your words didn't carry the meaning that you thought they did. You see, the gap between what we mean and what we say is where every single misunderstanding resides. We struggle to communicate with machines because we haven't yet learned how to communicate with one another. We don't know how to pull the thoughts out clean. We often mistake intention for clarity. We assume that people know what we meant when they only heard what we said. We assume the message was delivered because we said it, but language doesn't work like that. It doesn't flow perfectly like a stream. In your head, the meaning feels pristine, as clear as still water, but by the time it flows through your lips, it leaks. There's turbulence in your ideas, dripping pieces of meaning through the cracks that you didn't even know were there. And what arrives on the other side isn't what you meant, it's what survived the journey. We live in a world of turbulent waters. You may think you're being clear, but clarity isn't measured by what you say. It's measured by what your audience takes with them. That's why you can say one thing and someone else hears something else entirely. If your words don't survive outside of your bubble, then maybe they were never as strong as you thought. Hold on to that because there's supposed to be a metaphor in it. If you've ever walked away from a conversation thinking, that's not what I meant, then you already know what I'm saying. You already know what it feels like to have the right feeling, the right idea, and still somehow miss the mark. Words are only clear when the mind that delivers them knows exactly what it's trying to say. But most of us don't. We speak to figure it out. We talk our way through the fog and hope the other person sees the shape and the silhouettes of our ideas through the mist. This is the cost of untrained expression, and it's what separates people who get misunderstood from those who get remembered. And the cruel irony is, the clearer something feels in your mind, the more convinced that we are that it was received perfectly. But I digress. So, what can we actually do about all of this? Well, the fact that you're still here, listening, and breathing in these words with me tells me something about you. Something within you knows that this matters. And if that's true, congratulations, because you're already ahead of 60% of people. Because the first step in solving a problem is admitting that you have one. And the first step in becoming a better communicator is to admit plainly and honestly, I'm not a great communicator yet. And I applaud you because you've sat with the discomfort of knowing that the gap between what you mean to say and what you say is costing you something. And you're not alone in that gap. Because speaking with words doesn't come naturally to us. We didn't evolve to share our ideas through language. We evolved to share our thoughts through gestures. That is why over 90% of human interactions are nonverbal. Let me illustrate something. You can talk all day and still say nothing, but if you learn to communicate, you can say one sentence and it changes everything. People think because they can talk, they can communicate, but that's a fallacy. Talking is cheap. It spills from us like water from a broken faucet. Communication is deliberate. It's carved and it's crafted. It's water that's channeled, focused, refined, and pressurized until it cuts through the mental fog of the listener's mind. You can talk all you want and still say nothing. You can flood a room with words and yet everyone is still thirsty. But one sentence, just one, if spoken with intention and conviction, can echo for a lifetime. Earlier this week, a few friends came over. We were just talking, joking, catching up, and out of nowhere, one of them brought up a poem that I performed nearly a decade ago. It's a poem that I hadn't thought about or performed in years, but what shocked me, what genuinely left me silent, is that he started quoting it word for word, line after line, punchline after punchline. And this is from something that I said almost 10 years ago. And then another friend joined in, reciting the same lines, finishing my metaphors before I could even remember them. I sat there flabbergasted because I never expected my words to live and take root that long in someone else's mind. And it made me realize something. We all have that same potential. The potential to say something that doesn't just sound good for the moment, but lodges itself in memory. Something that gets passed around, repeated, and remembered. And if you want to speak in a way that echoes, not just for minutes, but for years, let me show you how. Let me give you two tools that changed everything for me. The first is a simple process that you can embark on to force your ideas into clarity. Through this, you're removing the fog and tracing the shape of your mind with your pen. It's writing. Writing helps you to see your mind on paper. It's the first step to refining your thoughts and understanding yourself. It makes you to confront the chaos, and it forces you to sit down with your own ambiguity and carve meaning from the noise. 5 minutes of reflective writing a day will sharpen your clarity more than 5 hours of conversing. Your words are a mirror, not of what you know, but of how well you've organized it. A cracked mirror still reflects something, but the image is always scattered and disorganized. Most of us try to speak in order to figure out what we think. I will urge you to reverse that. Write first. Writing forces clarity. It slows the mind down long enough to untangle it. 5 minutes a day of reflective writing will train your ability to organize your thoughts before you ever open up your mouth. This leads me to the second habit that you can implement to organize your words, and it's to practice the power of one sentence summary. After every idea I explain, after every thought I unravel, I ask myself a hard pressing question. Can I say all of this in one clear, unforgettable sentence. You see, anyone can ramble, anyone can talk around an idea, but few can distill it. The one sentence summary is your pressure test. You see, most people feel clarity is about stacking more words, but clarity doesn't come from addition. It comes from precision. The tighter your sentence, the sharper your thinking. The more compact your idea is, the more explosive that it becomes. Think about this. Every idea that has ever changed your life was probably one sentence long. You didn't remember the whole speech. You remembered the one line that cracked something open inside of you. So, here's what I do. After I've explained something, whether I'm writing, speaking, or thinking, I force myself to find the one sentence that carries the full weight of the idea without collapsing. It's not always easy, if I'm being honest, because sometimes I stare at the screen for 10 minutes. Sometimes I stare at the screen for 10 days, but when I find it, when the idea clicks into place, I know that I have something that is worth saying. That sentence becomes my anchor, my clarity checkpoint, my North Star, my compass when the conversation gets cloudy. Because when you can't find the sentence, you haven't yet found the idea. And when you can find it, that phrase becomes the thing that they quote, the punchline that they repeat 10 years later when you're no longer in the room. Before we depart, I want to leave you on this note. The clearest voices aren't the loudest. They're the ones who take their time to listen to their own thoughts before asking the world to. My dear friends, it has been an absolute pleasure spending this time with you. Thank you for watching.